Hi guys, welcome once again into another video, and Gran Turismo Sport finally came to an end. So it's the end of online services, and the final maintenance was on 31st of January, just a couple of days ago. And now this game is pretty much terminated. You cannot do anything here except for maybe play in the offline mode, which wasn't really the thing in Gran Turismo Sport because everything was around the online mode. I would say that it made a positive impact on my life in general and positive impact on, well, my channel, and, you know, to the point where I'm even making this video. I wasn't, you know, a couple of years ago, I didn't even think that I would be making videos like this, for example, and not to even mention, you know, the wheels that I have behind me. So I would like to go from the beginning and what GT Sports really represented for me and what it, you know, how did it impact my life in general. So I will go from the stats. So Gran Turismo ending online services 31st of January. I had a little look at the stats of what this game really was representing, and so I think this wasn't the most popular game of all time, but it still had a rating of a 7.5, which in today's world is actually pretty decent. So having a grade 8 out of 10, I think that's a pretty decent one by IGN. Of course, you have different ratings. I just wanted to have a little look at what the other reviewers said. And in general, if you go to Wikipedia, you can say that Gran Turismo initially sold around 10 million copies. Gran Turismo Sport sold almost 13 million copies, which is absolutely insane. If we just put it into perspective, Gran Turismo 3, which was, I think, by far the most impactful, I would say, game in Gran Turismo series, has sold almost 15. So Gran Turismo Sport was, well, I don't think it was a finished game, or it was, well, in general, it only had an online mode. You only had a couple of things that you can do in offline mode, which I know for some people just wasn't enough. And that's exactly why the critics said, you know, it's not a full game. It's definitely not what Gran Turismo games should be. And in the end, it sold about 13 million copies, which is absolutely insane. If you have a look at the number of cars, you can see that it had, let's say, only 84 tracks and 338 cars. When you compare something like that to even Gran Turismo 4, 721, and that was like 15 years ago. Yeah, almost even 20. It was actually 20 years ago, and it had doubled the cars. Gran Turismo 5 and 6, not the most popular ones. Okay, Gran Turismo 5 was okay, but Gran Turismo 6 just wasn't there. You know, what really impacted my life and what really impacted my channel was, well, was the beginning of Gran Turismo. I think I started playing 2018, and I said to myself, why not? Let's give it a go. I was still in college, and I was like, ah, man, I got a controller. I mean, I can do this. And that's how I started. And I started with, well, these are kind of my oldest videos on the channel, and I was like starting from the pole, and it wasn't actually that great. It was just a casual race. I mean, we can even have a look at that. You know, it wasn't anything special. I got an intro, everything was looking okay, and this wasn't actually my first race. I did a couple of races before that, so I think I deleted that, some copyright claims and so on. So it was kind of okay. I do remember this race, and it was kind of the best race that I had in a while in GT, and I was missing Apex. I just wasn't a complete driver in that manner. So this was the beginning of the journey, and then we had the infamous, one of the most difficult challenges in Gran Turismo Sport, and that was Willow Springs. I mean, I remember Willow Springs with the Lewis Hamilton time trial challenge. That was a thing. I mean, that was incredibly difficult to get, and you had to pay for the DLC, which I think they should do in the future with GT7, but okay. I had kind of battles with YouTubers, and then I started making guides, and I think things really started kicking off for me when I started making guides, and it was actually, I was starting to get some pretty decent lap times. My logo and my editing skills were, I'm not gonna say that they were terrible, but that they just weren't that great. So I'm just going to show you the video. So this was the video with the equipment that I had. You can look at the camera angles, the lighting, the look at where I was driving. Okay, this is the point where I actually got myself a FANATEC wheel. I was still on my playseat. You can look at the cables. I mean, it wasn't it just wasn't great. I mean, it could have been worse, it could have been better, but also the editing skills and all the things that I've done were like not exactly the best. So things really started kicking off for me, and I think it was 2020, 2021 when we had a national competition, which I'm gonna go through it later. And you can see that some of the videos that I have on the channel only have like 200 views or so. So this one, Alsace Village Track Guide, didn't really do well, around 300 views. First around 300 views. And all of a sudden I was getting videos that had almost 22,000 views, well, a lot of views at that point. I was like, man, how did I get those views? Where did all of those views came from? Like, what was going on? And all of a sudden we are kind of rewinding back in the day, and all of a sudden I started making more and more and more videos until my track guides actually started to be better. We can have a look at this track guide, which is okay, but look at the wheel, look at the, I mean, it was okay. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't kind of okay, but it just wasn't great. Let's be honest, it just wasn't great. The visuals and everything else, the microphones, the cameras, nothing was there, and not to even mention the background that I have today. So that was a completely different thing for me. We can just have a little look in this video. I think this was the video where I was in this race, weekly highlights, and you can see the graphics, the camera. I think I was using like, it was 720 camera. It was absolutely, it was just not great. I mean, I do remember some of these, some of these kind of interesting videos that I made in the past, and I was expecting, why can I not get like 10,000 views in a video? And I was like, now when I look into it, I know why. But back in the day, I was like, man, I need to get those views up. But it was, you can see this, no lighting, no nothing, no fancy cameras. I think I explained it a lot of times, but in general, GT Sport was something that kicked off this whole YouTube story for me, and in general, this was one of those things that in the end kind of changed my life in a better way. And you know, when I was making this video, I mean, look at the camera angles, look at the lighting. There was absolutely no lighting. I had like my coffee down at the side. Yeah. Nothing much to say except the cameras and all of the equipment that I had just wasn't up to the standards, and it was, I would say that it was okay, but nothing really that special and nothing really that could have changed dramatically my life and my channel. So I started making better videos, and I remember this one. This was the one. Look at this one. Just, it was so blurry. It was, I mean, like, I think the story was all right, but look at the thing. So the lighting started to be a little bit better, but I was completely out of focus, and everything was completely off. So yeah, as the time went on, as I just got more into this, more and more, I finally got myself a Gran Turismo DD Pro, which is, well, one of the best wheels. I still use it today, and that was, I think that was about 2 years ago at this point. And in the meantime, we had a couple of competitions. I mentioned the national one that we had, and it made me a national champion. So I was, at this point, I think I was the 2-time national champion, and all of this led to, well, we'll say a lot of different stuff. In general, I was the guy who's going to represent my country at the FIA, at the FIA Motorsport Games in France 2022. And this was one of the, kind of the biggest events. This was the biggest event in my life. I mean, I was representing my country at like the bigger stage, and you can see all of the countries all around the world. And it was, you know what, it was pretty special to me at this. Even when I'm thinking about it right now, I mean, it's really difficult to explain how you get from literally nothing. And I gotta show you my first rig. That was insane. I remember I was in college, I bought my first wheel, and it was just absolutely terrible. I mean, I think I had a blender box which was supporting my monitor, which was like the cheapest one that you can get. I think it was like 50-60 euros, something like that. I think it was really cheap at the time, so I remember that one. So we had a whole stage now. I mean, I wasn't exactly competitive because this was ACC, but somehow I made it to the finals. I made it through the quarterfinals, and then of course semifinals, and in the end I made it to the finals, which was, wow, okay, I made it to the finals. The racing wasn't really going that well. But somehow, in the end, I managed to get up to P16 in the finals, which was, you know, when you look at the field, when you look at all of the other guys that competed, it was something pretty special for me. And I even made a video about it. It's a pretty good video. You can go check it out. I'm gonna link it in the card up there. So yeah, I also had two of my friends right there, which, well, they ended up fourth in slalom racing, which was, once again, a pretty special thing. I mean, it's like they were fighting for medals on the world stage. So I think that was pretty special. And just look at the cars, look at the grid, and just, you know, just being there was a pretty good thing for me overall. And of course, well, in the end, I made it. I even made a couple of interviews for, I would say, a local TV station, which you can see here. And I was actually talking about my journey, how it all started, how I got myself onto the stage, and, you know, the positive impact GT Sport made on my life, which is undeniable to this point. I mean, I almost got a 40,000 subs. So thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. I mean, if you are not a subscriber, consider subscribing. Just saying. But I don't know, it all started from pretty much nothing, and I kind of ended up here, and now I'm at this point where I'm making this video and I have this background behind me, and it feels like it was just a couple of years ago, and you just cannot believe what happened with GT Sport. So it's kind of sad to see all of this getting away, and all of the progress that you made in this game. I mean, it wasn't for nothing, but it's really sad to see, or it's just, I guess it's like a positive impact that it's going to have on my life in the future, because I know I started with this. Who knows in what the next 5 years will get me. So I guess this could be a postcard to my future self. What will happen in 5 years? And I'm probably, you know what, after a couple of years, I'll probably go back to this video that I'm making today and say, like, yeah, man, Gran Turismo Sport, like, this game, it was just a game. I mean, in general, it really made a positive impact on my life, and the way that all of the things were going, and all of the videos that I made so far. You can see there were a lot of videos, and some of those videos were good, but most of those videos were really, really bad. And, you know, when I think about it, if you want to start a YouTube channel, yeah, just go with it. There is nothing that you can lose. Don't think too much. Just make videos. Try to make those videos better, and let's see what the future holds for you. So I think that's my biggest advice that I would give to anyone. And start with what you have. Don't think about the things that you don't have. Just use what you have and use it in the best way possible. And now, when I think about it, I even made this video. I think it was unintentional. It was in general very unintentional. And as you can see, I made around 800,000 views on one video. 800,000 views. I was trying to get a couple of hundred views, and all of a sudden, in Gran Turismo 7, okay, this was already the beginning of Gran Turismo 7, I'm getting 800,000 views on a video, and Trial Mountain. Unbelievable stuff. And I don't know, it's really hard to explain all of the things that, you know, make this game special, and in the end, what really made this whole journey special. So, I mean, once again, for the conclusion of this video, I would really like to hear you out. What do you have to say about Gran Turismo Sport? If it really did make a special impact on your life, how did it affect your life? I know it was just a game at this point, but now it's not a game anymore for me. It's just something more, and it's, once again, it's kind of a good thing that it ended, but also I feel really bad that it ended. And I'm like, you know what, I wish I started a little bit sooner with that game, and now I feel sorry that I'm not gonna play it anymore, and we won't have any more competitions in GT Sport. But who knows, maybe GT 8 or something that is gonna be called differently is gonna make an even better impact on someone else's lives and even myself. So I would like to hear you out, and what this game really meant to all of you. So guys, once again, thank you very much for supporting me in GT Sport. Thank you very much for playing GT Sport and being a part of this journey. And I cannot even say that I don't even know how my life would look like if it wasn't for GT Sport, and it really made it special. So once again, thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you very much for supporting me on the way here. So guys, once again, thank you, and yeah, have a good one. Bye.